'cause she's a Jezebel. St. Andrew Jezebel, 'cause she's a Jezebel. St. Andrew Jezebel.
Hey y'all, you're listening to the Season 3 premiere of the St. Andrew's Jezebel Podcast. If you're listening for the first time, my name is Ashley. I'm a third-generation Panama City native. I play music, and I'm also a Floriopolis volunteer. I am so happy to be back from my break from Season 2, and I'm ready to bring you a fantastic Season 3. Be sure to listen all the way to the end to find out who the upcoming guests will be. For our opening episode, we welcome New York Times bestselling author Michael Lister and the amazing Denise Dubois Lister of the Wabi Sabis. The two have not only joined their hands in marriage, but have also embarked on a creative journey together as the acoustic duo Bliss Street. After that, we'll briefly go over a few big events happening this month in Salty St. Andrews. And for our old news segment, we've got a poem found in the St. Andrews Bay News this month in 1930. If you've been enjoying the podcast and would like to show your support, you can make a one-time donation on our Ko-fi page. I'll include it in the show notes below. Also, you might have noticed that the podcast is currently 100% listener-supported. But if you'd like to sponsor an episode, just send me a DM and we can talk about it. For a more enhanced experience, follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram. The podcast is now available to stream directly from Facebook. So if you want to show your support, share this episode with all your salty friends. All right, coming up next, we got Michael and Denise. I hope y'all enjoy it. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite beer, and enjoy the show. Today, we are here with Bliss Street, better known as Michael and Denise Lister. Congratulations to the newlyweds. Let's start with Michael. You've written several novels. What's the latest in your literary career?
Well, this year is the 25th anniversary of my John Jordan series. So we have a lot of things planned for the fall for the next release of my John Jordan Mystery and celebrating 25 years. It was 1997 that the first one came out. But I've also started a new series set in Panama City that I'm really excited about. The first book came out last year, and it's called The Night Of. And the second book is called The Night in Question. Every book's going to have night in the title. And it comes out, by the time this podcast is released, it will be out. I'm really excited about that. It's about two private investigators who were raised in foster care, and now they work Panama City Beach and Panama City, mostly in missing persons cases.
That sounds really interesting. And for folks who haven't read your books, what's the basic premise of the first series and where is it set?
So everything outright is set here in the Panhandle. The John Jordan series is about a detective who moves back to the Panhandle from Atlanta after some bad cases, bad stuff happening up there, trying to put his life back together. And he's always had an interest in investigation and in spiritual things, so he becomes a prison chaplain and continues to do detection. And so for the first half of the series, he's a prison chaplain and he's actively investigating. Since then, the second half of the series, he's a full-time sheriff's department investigator. And he still does some counseling and things, but mostly he's just an investigator now.
Awesome. And how many books are in that collection?
There's 28 right now.
Wow, that's amazing.
And the first several are inspired by experiences I had in the prison system and experiences, my interest in mystery and that kind of thing, suspense, reading for years. But about halfway through the series, maybe even sooner, I turned to true crime for inspiration. So a lot of my books are based on actual cases. And I use the research that has been done on those cases and I fictionalize it and take elements of true crime and put it in the books. And so the very first one I ever used was the Atlanta child murders. And in fact, my detective, John Jordan, had an encounter with the Atlanta child murderer when he was a kid. And so that's a theme that runs all throughout. But anyway, I use a lot of true crime.
Awesome. I love true crime. In fact, that's what I listen to go to sleep.
Nice.
I know you both from, I met you years ago, Michael, at the place. You'd come and support the 4th Street Band for years and years. And I met you, Denise, through the Wabi Sabis. And now you both play music together. How did that come about?
So Denise has been playing for quite a while with the Wabi Sabis. I, as a teenager, played the drums and sang and loved it. But when I went to college, I stopped doing it. I went to a college where there was a lot of great musicians. It was in Atlanta. And my focus was in other places. And so I just sort of abandoned music for a long time. About 5 or 6 years ago, I guess I started singing again and really enjoying that. But it was when Hurricane Michael hit that I picked up the guitar, and I fell in love and realized that it was something that was missing from my life that before I didn't even realize it, And I love it. I've played every day since then, since the hurricane. So I'm about 3 years in. I'm just loving it so much. And Denise was already playing with the Wabi Sabis and had been doing a lot of music for a long time. And it was just a natural thing for, we started seeing each other and hanging out. We started playing music together. And then we've formed a group, an acoustic duo, just the two of us, and sometimes with friends that join us. But it has been so rewarding and fulfilling. And we love gigging together. We play music, all the time in our home. And in fact, on the drive over to talk to you tonight, we were working on a song.
And y'all went through somewhat of a journey on your band name, your duo name, and you call yourselves Bliss Street now. How'd you finally arrive at the decision that was going to be the name of your group?
It's funny that we were suggested several names, and just sort of playfully, we went with a few of them at different times. Can you remember what they were?
We were Listerine and the Swish for a hot minute. We wanted something with bliss.
Yeah.
And Bliss Street.
Yeah.
I love it. Great name. And so we got the spring coming up. We've just hit April. What are your creative intentions for the spring, y'all?
Love spring, just a great time to plant new seeds, so to speak. I feel like the growth and the life that comes up in the springtime is so very powerful, but also overwhelming because there's so many things to do. And you want to do all the things. This spring, my intentions are to work on staying healthy physically and mentally, spiritually, creatively, financially, all the E's.
Let's play pretend. If y'all could play music anywhere in the world, any venue, anywhere, anytime, where would it be and why?
I have an idea. I'm going to stay stateside, and I'm going to say the Red Rocks Amphitheater outside of Denver in Colorado. I just think it's the most beautiful venue. And 6,000 plus feet above sea level, just that natural acoustics between, what kind of stone is it? I don't know. Sandstone, boulders, something I think it's sandstone. Anyway, whatever it is, it's just beautiful. And that is where I would want to play. I don't think there's any amount of money that could give you that natural acoustic sound.
And I would pick, first of all, you said any place, any venue. And then you said at any time. So if it was just any venue, I think I would choose Chastain Park in Atlanta because I've enjoyed so many great concerts there. But if it were any time, it would be a time where I could go back and play with Dave Lloyd because that would be, it's just the fact that we did a little music together before he passed away, but I wasn't playing guitar at that time. So if I could do anything, it would be to play with him, and wherever that would be fine with me.
It would be wonderful to simply have a cup of coffee with David Lloyd again. He's very much missed. Absolutely. And Denise, what's the latest with the Wabi Sabis? I miss y'all.
I know. We're all having some big life changes. Everybody's getting married and traveling a lot. We do have some upcoming gigs. We'll be playing the last Sunday of each month at Little Village from 1 to 4 p.m. So April 24th, May 29th, June 26th, July 31st, August 28th. All you have to remember is the last Sunday of the month. And we're still very much, good buds, having a blast, but everybody's so busy that we're deciding to just do the once a month gig, keep it fun.
I relate to that. I play with an all-girl band called the Sweater Puppets, and we've been practicing a little bit lately, but we came to that point too where we were either getting sick or we were getting married, so we had to just go to once a month. So let's change gears a little bit. What's something that y'all wish the public knew about the life of a creative they might not be aware of?
Well, I would say that from my own personal standpoint, I may seem like an extrovert, and I'm actually extremely introverted.
The thing that, to me, that a lot of people I think don't understand about creatives is that it comes down to practice and work. And you can't sit around and wait on a muse. You can't sit around and wait on inspiration. You have to daily grind it out and practice and work just as hard at your craft as anybody else is working at theirs, whatever their job. Be a professional. I've always liked the concept of being a professional amateur or an amateur professional. An amateur is someone who does something for the love of it. A professional gets paid. I make my living as a writer. I get paid to do that, but I love it. And I do it because I love it. So to me, the best kind of creative life is you are a professional and you're paid because you've become excellent at what you do, but you never lose the love of it. And professional amateur is what I attempt to be. But to me, the thing that most people I think misunderstand is, this notion of you just sort of sit around and wait for inspiration to come. And I think it was Jack London that says you don't sit and wait for inspiration. You get a club and you track it down. And that's the creative life. That's what you have to do every day.
Absolutely. What a wonderful metaphor. So y'all got married not very long ago. What's it like to be married to fellow creative people?
So great. We both work from home as well. And you would think that we would get sick of each other, but luckily we're in, opposite corners of the home for our day job. And then we get to have lunches together. I think that Michael is such a great balance for me and such a gift to my life. I get really excited about things, kind of have that, squirrel brain. And I feel like my follow through is where I have difficulty. So Michael is more of someone who executes. And if he says he's going to do it, he does it. I'll say 10 things and maybe do one of them, But anyway, so that helps to take our innovative ideas and bring them into existence, whether it's in writing or entertaining people with music or solving everyday problems. So I think we're a great team. We really balance each other.
The nice thing about being with a fellow creative is they get that you need to create. And so if just recently Denise said, hey, I think we had planned to do something in an evening. And she said, I think I'm going to go up to my office and write. I want to go play. And I'm working on this song. And so I was happy for her to do that and understood and didn't feel like, oh, why do you have to do that now? Why can't you do that another time? So that kind of understanding. And then also the fact there's such a good energy and there's always something happening. So we always have music playing or a podcast, or we're always talking about whatever song or what book I'm working on or what song I'm writing or she's writing or what gig we have coming up and ideas for mashups. It's just a constant exchange. And you can be with someone who is not necessarily a creative and they can be supportive, which is great. But I think there's another level when you have someone who is also a creative, they get it, they understand it, and they support you in addition to understanding it in a way that maybe someone who's not can't.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you've got a wonderful, blissful co-working situation going on, and I'm very happy for you both.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so let's talk. Since we're in St. Andrews, we're here at Floriopolis. What do y'all love about St. Andrews?
Everything. It really is my just favorite spot in this area. Our first date was in St. Andrews. We have been known each other and been friends for a decade and just met for lunch. And where we went for lunch was Thai Basil, right down around the corner. So that's very special to us. That was our first date. And then the 2 days later, when we had another date, we also came right back here. And we went to Little Village and Tap Room. We just sort of did the pub crawl. And it's my first time ever going to Slice House. And we just love it. I love the energy here. I love the fact that you can walk to 5 or 6 different live music venues. And the atmosphere is so good and they're different. I love how the library is different from Burke and Barrel or from the Tap Room or the Uncle Ernie's or House of Bourbon. It's just there's so much to do. It's in such a compressed area, space that you can walk and you can enjoy so many different things in one evening. Absolutely.
It's just so quaint and salty, as they say. It's just offbeat and quirky without trying too hard. It's just a treasure of a town. We love it here.
What's not to love? Absolutely. And, I'm with you when you said, there's something to do every night of the week. When I'm putting the podcast episodes together, I have to sort of pick and choose what I'm going to mention every week because
I only have so much time before I start losing people. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a ton of things happening on a Tuesday.
That would be your entire podcast.
We're very fortunate. For a long time, and you know this very well, downtown Panama City was the place. As you went, there was the place, there was the fiesta, there was several things, and you could go down there of an evening and walk around. And one of the most magic nights I ever had was doing that. I went from, there was an event at the Visual Arts Center. I think you guys were playing. I think Turtlefoot was playing at the place. I went to the fiesta, and then there was a house party right around the corner in the Cove. We walked everywhere, and there's like 3 or 4 other things going on. It was magic. And then after Hurricane Michael and different changes down there's still cool things to do downtown. But when we go out, we typically come to St. Andrews and we park the car, we get out and we walk from place to place. We run into friends and family and fellow musicians and people playing. And there's great food, there's art, and then there's great music, and I just love it.
Me too. And what additions are you hoping to see for St. Andrews?
I've heard record store.
I think there is a music store coming. Sure is. Yeah.
Music store?
I would say more parking would be nice. But I'm not sure it needs a whole lot more. To me, it's just almost perfect. And we, of course, get to enjoy it in the off season and when the tourists are here. And I prefer the off season, but it is nice when there's, you can tell at your gigs which season you're in by how many people are there. We've had some great gigs during the season where it's just standing room only and very good energy and things. But off season is sort of nice and quiet, and you have and you have the fans that are really there to see you and want to appreciate what you do and want to hang out the whole time. Both are nice, but I like everything about St. Andrews. I really do.
Me too. And it makes me a little envious because I'm from St. Andrews, but I am now a West Ender, and we no longer have an off season. So I miss what you just described very much. Now, anything new or exciting coming up for Bliss Street or individual projects that you'd like to share?
Ones that are monthly we play the 2nd and 4th Saturday nights at the library on Beck. The LIE', the library on Beck. And then we do usually have a gig at Little Village once a month. We are playing the Arts Festival downtown in April. We're doing a concert in the park in March for a fundraiser for a friend of ours who feeds the poor and does things like that. But mostly we play 2nd and 4th Saturday nights, and then usually a gig or two at the library. So most of what we do is in St. Andrews, although we play some in Gulf County too. And in terms of what we're working on, I told you I picked up the guitar in 2018, right after Hurricane Michael. In the last 2 months, I think it is, I've started writing songs. And I am loving it so much. It's a whole other creative outlet. And Denise has been writing for a long time, and she has helped me so much in this process. And I'll hum to her and she'll help me with melody, and she'll, and then I'll write something and share it and get feedback. But anyway, so I plan on doing a whole lot more songwriting in the near future. And the process for me is, rather than a 70,000 word novel, I get 70 words in a song. And so compressing the thoughts and emotions, writing a novel is a marathon. Writing a song you can do in a day or two sometimes. And it's such a different process, and I am absolutely loving it. And like I say, Denise has been doing it, but she's so helpful to me in the process, and I hope we'll continue to write a lot of songs together in the near future.
Well, I love that for y'all, and I'm going to manifest that you have a really great original song catalog that someday gets recorded so that everyone can enjoy it and listen to it at all times. Absolutely.
The first song I ever wrote was for my granddaughter. Second song was for Denise that I played at our wedding. The third song I ever wrote, and I've only written like 5 to this point, but the third song I ever wrote was for Dave. And and I'm really pleased with that one. So definitely going to do a tribute to him.
Absolutely. I love that. Man, if we had drinks, we'd have to have a toast to him. Yes.
Definitely.
So How can folks reach y'all online or beyond to keep up with y'all?
One way is Facebook, Bliss Street. I think it's Bliss Street Band or Bliss Street Music on Facebook. You can go to my website, which is michaellister.com, and it's got contact for Bliss Street as well.
So, Michael, I heard that you're having a new songwriting gathering at your home coming up. What's that all about?
We are, and we would love anybody who's interested, anybody who's writing songs and active in that process that would like to join us to reach out, contact us, and we'd love to talk to them about it. When I started writing novels, I did so as part of a novel writing workshop. And you would write chapters, you submit them to the group, they read them and give you feedback. And it was invaluable. And so I want to do that same thing with songwriting. I want to sit down with a group of songwriters, musicians, even people who aren't working on songs but love music and will give you feedback. And I want each of us that are working on songs to actually get feedback, not just, oh, that's good or I like that, but like, how, have you considered trying this? That phrase is something's not hitting my ear right with that phrase you used. So our idea is to have a sort of potluck lunch together, eat, have fellowship like that, and then play music. Everybody share, anybody who wants to share a song and get actual real feedback on that song.
I love that, and I hope I get to attend that sometime.
We sure do too. I think this is true of everything in life, but especially art. Process is everything. Process. And so if you get feedback and help during the process, it's invaluable. It's the best thing you can get. And I think it's going to be very special. And anybody who's interested, definitely look us up on Facebook, reach out to us, send us a PM, and we'll let you know when it's going to be happening.
Thank y'all so much for doing that. That is fantastic. And I'm going to really try to get over there. Denise, Michael, thank you so much for being on the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. I've loved having y'all here. I always love to see y'all. Thank y'all for being my friends.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you doing this. It's such a great service. And thanks for having us.
I love it. Well, thank y'all so much for being here. Till next time, keep St. Andrews salty.
One of the best things about St. Andrews is that you can see live music every day. That's right, there is live music being played somewhere in St. Andrews 7 nights a week. Fortunately, my friend Ken Schaefer creates and publishes a weekly schedule for St. Andrews as well as most of Bay County. Ken's spreadsheet schedule is updated often when there's any changes. Ken also shares individual music events and is walking the walk and talking the talk when it comes to supporting live music. Not only does Ken supply the music schedules, but he attends several music performances a week and takes fantastic photos of the musicians. As a working musician myself, I feel blessed to have Ken and his wife Donna as treasured members of our local musical family. Make sure you like and follow Ken's page, Salty Sounds in St. Andrews, and Oh Boy Music on Facebook, so that you'll always know where all the live music will happen. Thank you so much, Ken, for everything you do. All right, so I thought I'd try out something new rather than reading all the weekly events, which I still intend to do later in the season. I thought I'd go over a few big events that are happening in the month of April. So the whole month of April is National Poetry Month for all your poets out there. The crew of St. Andrews is having their annual Easter egg hunt, and that's at Oakland Terrace Park, April 16th at 9 a.m. After that, we've got Earth Day at Oaks by the Bay Park at 10 a.m., and that is going to be a fantastic event. I'm going to be performing there. There's going to be a lot of other great musicians performing there. Can't wait to see it. It's for a great cause. And then, of course, April 29th is Poem in Your Pocket Day. Make sure you follow the Floriopolis page to find out more information on that event as it happens in St. Andrews. For our old news segment, we've got a poem from the St. Andrews Bay News published April the 8th in 1930. This is called There's a Reason, or Just Like a Grape Nut. There's a little town in Dixie you've all heard of before, where there's fishing and boating along a palm-lined shore. There's eats galore and sunshine, blondes with red moon hues. It's a life that's worth the living. Down here we have no blues. There is just one old St. Andrews Bay. It's like the flowers in May, where you soon forget your troubles while you pass the time away. There's just one old St. Andrews Bay. Haven't you heard the Yanks all say? 'Cause they leave the north in winter to St. Andrews Bay to stay. If you've lived on old St. Andrews Bay for a year or probably more, it just gets into your system like it never did before. Now just buckle down and hustle. It's the least that we can say. There is just one old St. Andrews Bay, if it's only for a day. So like grape nut, there's a reason. You have heard the folks all say, no matter if we're broke or not, we're glad we're here to stay. Esther M. Johnson. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Season 3 premiere of the St. Andrews Jezebel Podcast, and I hope you'll tune in next week for Jennifer Creamer, and the week following, we've got Woods the Band. As always, if you'd like to support the podcast, please visit our Ko-fi page where you can make a one-time donation. Make sure you tell all your salty friends to follow us on Facebook so you'll receive a notification every Thursday when episodes go live. Our theme song was written by me and recorded by Dave Schwartz on the campus of Gulf Coast State College. The rest was written by me and recorded in my music room, with the interviews recorded at Floriopolis. So we'll see you next Thursday. Till next time, keep St. Andrews salty.